This week, more of the models and personalities from the International Motorcycle Show.
Anyone who's a fan of the big yin, Billy Connolly, must have seen his tour of Australia. What you've probably also seen is this mega Harley-Davidson trike. This is it, in the flesh. I haven't got the colourful language of Billy Connolly to explain it, but it's absolutely awesome, and I'd love to take it out.
Well, still in the world of accessories, if you want to look like Terminator, maybe this is the thing for you. Now, I've lost Wayne. Has anybody seen Wayne? Wayne? Hang on. Wayne! Wayne! Come on, Wayne!
Whilst we're at the bike show, we've decided to visit the Phoenix distribution stand. They do just about everything for bikes. And one of the things they've got is this beautiful exhaust system. Look at this bike. It's decorated in its Shark Racing Helmets livery. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks like a race thoroughbred machine. It's got a racing appearance exhaust on it, but in actual fact, it's a BSI approved exhaust. So you can look like the boy racer, but still keep within the legal limits. Even this thing. Beautiful exhaust system, extraordinarily well made. They don't come much better than this. But still, carbon fibre, race appearance and BSI approved. So I don't see any point in breaking the law when you can have a powerful system on a powerful bike and still have it approved.
I'm at the NEC, and of course it's the largest bike show the UK has ever seen, and I'm in the Honda Hospitality Lounge. Like you do. I know where I'm better off. And with me is, I better let you say your title, Graham.
I'm Press and Public Relations Officer, Honda UK.
Okay. And who do we have here?
Tom Sanderson.
Oh, you could even be father and son.
We possibly are, yes. He's got a little bit more hair than I have, though.
I've got a few questions I want to ask you. Now, if you could go on a biking holiday, where would you go? Anywhere in the world?
I'd go to Florence.
You'd go to Florence?
Florence in Italy, because I went there a couple of years ago on a Honda Pan-European rally, and it was absolutely superb. They say 3/4 of the world's culture is in Europe, and 3/4 of that is in Florence. It's just such a superb place. There's lots of fantastic roads around there, and in the evening the Chianti is beautiful.
Anywhere?
Like on a touring holiday or something?
Okay, it will be Tour America with her on a Fireblade 900.
GSXR 600.
She's been thinking about this.
And with Dan, and Scotland, I think.
If you could have any bike, what would it be?
I've got it, and it's an XJR 1200.
That's convincing for you. Where would you go? I mean, if you could go on a holiday anywhere on your bike, where would it be?
Budapest, probably.
Why Budapest?
I've read a lot about it. It looks nice, and the roads out there seem nice.
Harley-Davidson, Hawaii, definitely.
Who would you take with you if you could choose anyone in the world?
Oh, yeah.
What bikes are you here to see? What's your favourite bike so far, rather?
The Honda Firestorm.
Honda Firestorm. Yeah, ditto. And yourself?
Yeah, same.
It's the same. Now, if you could go anywhere on your Honda Firestorm, where would it be for a holiday?
Jamaica.
I'm here at the bargain bins. Anything you want? And they're all bargains too. Can I quickly ask you a couple of questions, like what bike, if you could have any bike, would you have?
Ducati 916.
Guess what? And if you could go anywhere in the world on it for a holiday, where would you go?
New Zealand.
Definitely the star of the show for many people is the bike behind me, the T595 Triumph. And I've got Bruno with me, Bruno Tagliaferi of Triumph. Bruno, it's been a hell of a hit, hasn't it, this bike?
It seems to be. We launched it at Cologne, and obviously the dealers have seen it. It's had a little bit of press coverage, but the reaction from the public has been phenomenal.
A little bit of press coverage. It's been full of the thing. It seems that certainly the British press just can't wait to sort of get their hands on it, and they're all sort of championing for it. It's very almost jingoistic, isn't it? You know, it's British, it must be good.
Yes, obviously we've been back for 6 years now, but this is our first serious attempt at making a purist sports machine, and that's where the market's expanding, so I think the timing's been spot on.
When will deliveries start?
In this country we're probably looking very early part of the new year, January, for the 595, and probably 6 weeks behind on the naked version, the T509.
You were building a new factory, or are building a new factory. Are you going to build yet another one to cope with the demand?
No, I think the new factory will take us forward in production numbers, but at the moment we've got space in the current factory. We want to outgrow ourselves first before we take the next move.
Well, that's very wise. Don't sort of run before you can walk. Mind you, I reckon you are running with this one. one anyway, Bruno. And you're looking forward to a good show, obviously.
The show's perfect timing. People now are looking at next year's machines. I think they consciously make a buying decision at the show, and there's a lot of new models here, so it keeps us on our toes too.
Okay, Bruno, well, thanks very much. And when can I get a ride on one of these?
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to join the queue, Jeff.
Well, that is a Suzuki GSXR 750. And this is well worth a mention. This is the new GSXR 600. Now, for a long time, Honda have had the lion's share of the 600cc sports bike market with their CBR. But Suzuki have come in with this, the 600cc GSXR, a cracking bike, physically about the same size as the 750 and a bit cheaper. Well worth a look. And still on the Suzuki stand, this is the bike that won Suzuki an award for Best Value of the Year. This is the 600cc Bandit, an absolutely cracking machine, superb performer, and it's only just over £4,000.
Well, guess who I've got with me? Carl Fogarty, but I'm sure he doesn't need any introduction anyway. Carl, looking forward to next year on your racing exploits back on Ducatis?
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's it's where I belong, I think, and kind of missed it a little bit this year at some races where I thought I could go well on Ducati. I struggled on the Honda, maybe like Brands Hatch, places like that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
Well, behind me here I can see a bike just suited to you in next year's World Superbike. So what do you think the chances are on this ST2?
Ah, yeah, no problem. Let's take the panniers off, we'll be all right.
What do you think of the show anyway? I know you've been a difficult man to get hold of. You've been down at Honda and now you're up at Ducati. But what do you think? It looks like a booming business for bikes?
Yeah, it's a great show, this one. It's obviously the best one, and all the new bikes are sort of on display for '97 as well. So it's a really good show, very colourful, and it's good.
I don't suppose you get much chance for riding on the road at all. Do you get out at all on a road bike, or do you prefer to do your thing on the track?
Yeah, I sort of prefer to stay on the track really, where there's nothing coming the other way, but you know, maybe in the summertime I'll get out on a bike a little bit, but it's very minimal really. I prefer to be in a car on the road, to be honest.
So bumping fairings is okay, bumping into cars you're not so keen on?
Yeah, I don't, like I said, you know, on the track there's nothing coming the other way, on the road. I think guys who race bikes for a living, like, you know, and try and ride them on the road after it, find it so hard work. I do anyway. I'm just not used to judging things like, you know, lampposts and traffic lights and things on a bike. In a car it just comes natural though, it's strange.
Yeah. What's the response been so far to you getting back onto Ducatis? I mean, I see there's a new 996 916 over there, if you're following me. I don't know whether you've seen that. Obviously a bored out one. Ducati must be hoping for great things following in your footsteps.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, every year, every manufacturer improves the bike a little bit more for the following year, and hopefully Ducati will make their bike a little bit better than this year, because I know the other guys will be doing so. You know, it should be good. I'm pleased to be back on a Ducati, like I said, and I'm looking forward to the year.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Carl. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Jim, can I just have a little word with you, please? I'll pass the microphone across to you. Is this just like racing when you have two girls in either arm?
Oh, it's a lot more fun.
This isn't like the bike you race, although similar. The panniers are rather nicer than the bike. Just tell us a bit about racing next year. What are you going to do?
It's still fairly early at the moment. You know, I'm hoping maybe to ride one of these and maybe a superbike again for Suzuki.
Well, the best of luck for it, mate. All the best in '97.
Join us after the break for some more reports of all the Exotica and other bits and pieces that are at the International Bike Show, and I'll be out on a Buell, which to those who don't know is a great big Harley but in street bike style. Well, welcome back, and we've got more reports for you from the 1996 International Motorcycle Show, but of course it's not all motorcycles. To ride a bike you've got to protect yourself, and who better to advise us on that than young Wayne.
And we're on the Phoenix stand again, and now we're going to look at some RI helmets, but I must introduce you to the big man-in-chief from the Phoenix organisation, Graham Evans. Now Graham, tell me about the new entry model that you've got in the Phoenix range.
Hi Wayne, yep, price stays the same, £199, 99p, new shape, new fit, a few new features, new ventilation. It keeps the Super ADSYS system that we've got on all the top helmets, and slightly lighter than before. This time we do have the facility for putting in the air duct on the top.
So it's everything that the big posh models are, but it's a lower cost. But you've got a new model, haven't you, in the Quantum E, some new paint jobs?
Quantum-E, yeah, we've got 3 new paint jobs in the Quantum-E, but the really exciting one is the Thunder, which is graphically challenging, should I say.
Carl Fogarty's helmet, Foggy's best helmet, and he's changing it next year, not for another alternative make, but for another shark. Here it is, the RS2. This is the unpainted version, but he's negotiating as we speak for some new decals and some new fancy colours. Tell me some more, Graham. Some more models, is there? Looking forward to 97?
Absolutely. Yep, the XRS, brand new for this season. And just look at this for a trick paint job. Shows all of our top riders, Carl and the rest.
John Lewis, UK manager for Buell. What's the connection with Harley Davidson? Buell is so obviously a Harley, but it's not a Harley.
Exactly. Well, in 1993, Harley Davidson bought a 49% share of Buell to inject capital into the business, to enable Eric Buell, who was a former Harley Davidson engineer and national class road racer, to enable him to develop more innovative sports-oriented motorcycles. This one's called an M2 Cyclone. It's slightly more competitively priced than the S1 Lightning. It's a proper dual seat bike and has slightly different suspension. It's the same chassis as S1 Lightning and has the same horsepower and exciting ride, but it's just a more competitively priced model.
And this is the Harley Davidson 1200 Sportster. I'm sure it's a bike that anyone into Harleys will instantly recognise. But what you might not recognise is this one in front of me. This is the Buell, the breakaway from Harley. Same basic 1200cc engine, but with a few extra bits and pieces, like Screaming Eagle cams and light and flywheels. But not only that, it's a but also. Just look at the frame, completely different. You've never seen that on a Harley before. Belt drive, which is common to the other Harleys. Italian Marcinetti wheels, but you've got white power suspension on this. And again, I said something completely different. Just look at that shock absorber underneath the engine, and that's not even in compression. It actually expands as the suspension moves. White power upside down forks at the front. All very, very trick. In biking politics terms, this has got to be the screaming Lord Such. Now, a guy called Eric Buell is the guy behind this special, hence the name on the tank. He used to work for Harley Davidson, and he decided to make 1 or 2 specials and make, perhaps as he thought of it, better use from a Harley engine. But perhaps I shouldn't say that. Anyway, Eric started off, made 1 or 2, sold 1 or 2, and so he was doing okay. So Harley Davidson in '93 decided they'd buy into this new fledgling company, and they bought 49% of the company. And so it's now got the backing of Harley. And I think they're looking for things in Europe now. This is very much in the European style. If Ducati hadn't called their monster a monster, this would have to fit that bill. Now, all this fun can be yours for £8,000 or thereabouts. And if you're wondering why I'm smiling, that's because I've just been out on it. And I'm going to go out on it again. Well, what a great bike the S1 was. But I've got something slightly different in front of me, a touring version, and I've also got the man behind the Buell, Mr. Buell himself. Eric Buell, welcome to the UK.
Thank you.
Is this your first time over here?
Oh no, I've been to the UK quite a few times.
Have you? Can you tell me something about the Buell concept? What was behind it? You started, is it wrong to say you started as a special builder?
No, that's really correct. That's what I did start doing back in 1984.
Is that when you worked for Harley?
I left Harley in 1984 and started the business because I came from a sport bike background. I had been there as an engineer for 5 years.
And you thought, I could make a good sports bike out of one of these big lumps, and you did?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So how have things developed over time? I mean, did you start off with your own frame?
Yes, I originally started with a Harley-Davidson engine that I purchased and built a one-off frame for the very first bike, and then I started building them for a couple of people to order. Then I started a business to sell them through dealers out of my garage, you know, one of those typical.
No, it sounds good, and it's the way lots of things have started. And this aggressive stance, I mean, you didn't go for the road racer look. It's this Streetfighter, it's called in the UK. I don't know why it's called that in the States, but this aggressive, you know, it's all action stuff. Was that your idea from the beginning?
Well, our very first bikes weren't that way, but when we wanted to do a real performance bike with the new company, once Harley-Davidson had got involved and we were really growing, I thought that was a perfect bike to do.
Well, here we are on the Honda stand. Now this is something that's been around for a few years now. This is the GL 1500 Goldwing, and this has got every conceivable extra. You name it, we've got it. Intercom, radio cassette under here, and just about everything. Vents for your fingers, vents for your feet, a flat 6-cylinder, water-cooled engine, good for well in excess of 100,000 miles, a superb machine. And you can even fall asleep, almost, on the back. Wayne.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
Sorry, were you asking me?
Yeah, no, just sorry about the bike. But this 1500cc super smooth engine, shaft drive, everything you'd want. But if you don't like the fairing and you don't want all the gadgets, perhaps you'd like the engineering, but with a custom look. Well, come and have a look at this. This is the F6C, or the Valkyrie, as some people would call it. This is the same engine basically as a 1500 wing, but all the fairing's gone and it's been replaced by lots of nice shiny chrome bits. Superb looking bike, brilliant handling, loads and loads of torque, and smoother than any Harley Davidson you've ever ridden.
Right now I'm finding myself surrounded by some of the most amazingly shaped, sculpted and you name it bikes I have ever seen. Of course they are Streetfighter bikes, but I am very much in the dark when it comes to this.
People choose, myself and other people choose these kind of motorcycles because they are so different. Motorcycles are a big expression and Streetfighter motorcycles are the most extreme expression of all.
They're as different as the individual that owns them basically. What is this bike?
This originally is a VMAX that's been totally modified. It's got an extra fuel tank, it's got very expensive upside down forks, it's got lightweight wheels, it's been tuned, it's had nitrous oxide injection. It's totally outrageous.
It looks like it. This is fantastic. You've got to get yourself to see some street bikes, I tell you.
You've heard the name Bimota, Italian Exotica. Beautiful frame, beautiful engineering, often with Japanese engines, sometimes with Ducati engines. But you've seen this one. What you haven't seen is the latest Bimota, which is a two-stroke of all things. I might not actually be dressed for sitting on this red-hot Bimota, but what I can tell you is it feels absolutely superb. Look at this tank for one thing. You're actually wrapped around your knees. It's been aerodynamically tested to make sure that there's no nasty extremities of the human form that'll slow you down. But the engine, and it's a shame that you can't see it, it's another V-twin, very popular at the show this year, but a two-stroke, very unusual. And it's a clean two-stroke. They managed to cut the emissions by 70% by direct fuel injection. Oil pickup to the crank is from the gearbox, and so that helps. The old petrol oil mix that you might remember, none of that anymore. So you've got a bike here, extremely lightweight. It's offering terrific performance because the power to weight ratio is so good. So it might not have the stunk of a Honda, the new V-twin, it might not have the stunk of a 916, but with a power to weight ratio like this, it should go like an absolute rocket ship.
I'm in the ring again, but this time I'm not gladiating and I'm not boxing, because I couldn't do that if you paid me to. But I'm with Jim Reynolds, and Jim, apparently, he's going to kill me with this, knows all there is to know about the history of motorbikes. Where do I start? And basically, where did you start?
When did I start? Oh, a long, long time ago, but not as long ago as this one. This is one of the very first British motorcycles made in 1896. What we're doing here is celebrating 100 years of British motorcycles from 1896 to 1996. Immediately after the war, and I do remember that very well, immediately after they were very, very simple and fundamental, because they were hangers from the 1930s, when everything was bought for simplicity, and Mr. Jones, Mr. Average, maintained it himself, so it had to be simple for him. Now today you buy extremely complex, very refined, high-performance motorcycles which have to be maintained by technical experts. If you don't, you get in trouble with them.
Well, we're talking about big bikes, big engines. I like big engines now. I've come to the NEC to look for a big muscle bike. If you want a big engine, come and look at Titan. These are the biggest you can get. Now, if you want to talk Titan, talk to the man who owns the company. This is Doug Butler. Doug, this is the biggest bike you can go and buy off the shelf, is it not?
It is, that's right. It's a standard engine configuration.
Right. So, I mean, what are these, a 1600cc?
1600cc or 96 cubic inches,
right,
if you're still metric.
But there is, amazingly, a bigger option available on these, isn't there?
There is, that's right. We can blueprint an engine up to, at the moment, to 1800cc.
1800, think about that. And just look at the chrome on it. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. But if you want big engines, you've got to pay big bucks. So these aren't cheap, Doug. What would these cost?
This particular red bike is retailing at 32,000. This has been specifically built for a customer who took delivery about a month ago.
Smashing. So, but look at the chrome. You'd be frightened. I wouldn't take that out. I wouldn't get it wet. That. It'd take you a month to polish that, wouldn't it? Brilliant.
That's all part and parcel of it. That's all part of the fun.
Right. And where are these made? They're made in America, are they?
They're made in Phoenix, Arizona.
Right. Smashing. There we go.
Desert country.
Straight out of the desert, as you can see. Well, there you go. Big bikes, big engines, but big bucks.
Join the Two Wheels Better team next week here on the Men and Motors channel for a new series of bike features for 1997.